Hello, good evening. My name's Nicola White and I'm the assistant head teacher here at Woodland School, responsible for teaching and learning. And I just wanted to take this opportunity tonight to talk to you about our exciting new home learning programme, which we have just launched with our pupils. Now, hopefully you've had the opportunity to read the letter that I sent out this Monday and watch the accompanying YouTube presentation, which does give a little bit of detail about what we're trying to achieve here at Woodlands and about how the programme works. And the purpose of this evening really is just to talk a little bit about that programme and to answer any questions that parents might have regarding the new home learning provision. So at Woodlands, what we're aiming to achieve is for our pupils to secure mastery. Now, mastery really refers to a certain type of learning, and that's a learning which is a higher order kind of learning. It means pupils have understood material, it's been consolidated into their long-term memory, and then they're able to apply it unconsciously in unique contexts. And the reason we've done this is we find a lot of our pupils, when they prepare for their exams, they go and they revise, but they do struggle, one, to revise, but secondly, to be able to apply what they've learnt to certain exam questions. So our main aim at Woodlands is to develop these skills to ensure that they've mastered the content and they are able to unconsciously apply their understanding in a range of different ways. And when we talk about higher order concepts, we're talking about skills of evaluation, skills of analysis, the ability to reach well-justified judgments, all skills which are vital not only for success at Woodlands, but also for success in later life. And what we're trying to do here is ensure, as I said, that these skills of mastery are embedded into our pupils, but they do require, to achieve this, a good long-term memory. They need to be able to remember the knowledge before they're able to apply it. And this is something that we've been working on and seek to continue to work on over the next couple of years, because we're hoping to become what's called a thinking school. So that's a school that encourages those higher order thinking skills. And we're going to do this in 3 ways. So firstly, we're ensuring that inside lessons, all pupils are quizzed regularly on material to help the transfer of knowledge from short-term memory to long-term memory. It's making sure that pupils are posed with quizzes and questions that test their cumulative understanding. So not just the content that they've learned last lesson, because that's often easy to remember, but perhaps the content that they've learned the previous week, the previous month, even the previous year. You will understand, obviously, we run a 3-year Key Stage 4 here, so our pupils often find it quite difficult in Year 11 to remember the content that's been delivered to them in Year 9. And we're trying to make sure that we build in opportunities for them to retrieve this, so it's constantly in their brain and it goes into their long-term memory. So we're ensuring that every lesson they've got an opportunity to practice memory retrieval. In addition to that, all of the assessments will now test their cumulative understanding. So again, not just what they've just learned, but all the understanding that they've developed over the course. And to complement this is our home learning programme, which we're calling Raw Knowledge. That stands for Retrieval at Woodlands. And we've designed this programme in collaboration with Tassomai, which was a programme originally set up to support science revision. And the programme is a quizzing programme, and it does test pupils' cumulative understanding. So they will be quizzed on everything they've learnt at their time at Woodlands. And I'm going to talk to you now in a little bit more detail about the way the programme works, the benefits for our pupils, our expectations of pupils, and also what your role as parents can be in this process. Please feel free as I go through this to ask any questions. If you just put it in the comment box, I will try to answer them. Please excuse me from looking from left to right. That's just so I can see the questions. But as I said, as I'm talking, please feel free to write any questions that you may have, and we'll make sure we address them. If we refer back then to our Raw Knowledge programme, as I said, which has been designed in collaboration with Tassomai, the programme is particularly clever because it ensures that it personalises every student's home learning provision. What that means is every pupil will have a different question queue. They will be asked different questions depending on their areas of strength and areas of weakness. And Woodland staff over the last 18 months have been writing all of these questions in collaboration with Tassomai. So they have been writing, there's about between 50 and 60,000 questions we've written. So all the content is tied specifically to what your children will be learning. And the way the algorithm works is it gives all these questions for the subjects they follow to pupils, and it identifies not only the subjects, but also within the subjects, the topics that pupils struggle with. And it ensures that they are targeted in the areas that they need more support with. It provides regular opportunities for spaced retrieval. So if they get something wrong one day, over the next 2 or 3 days, they will be asked that question again until they've mastered it. And even the material which they would be considered to have mastered, they will get quizzed on again, so they don't lose it from their memory. But it will the gaps between the frequency at which it's asked will be extended, because it's considered they know that material, so they just need a refresher now and again. So obviously this opportunity for this spaced retrieval, which is interleaved, so combining new understanding with old understanding, is really, really important, as is the idea that it's personalised, so it is targeted to the individual. Now, I know that some of our pupils have been trialling that at the moment, and at the moment it's a bit difficult because the programme is trying to gather information on all of our pupils. So at the moment it might feel they're being targeted with lots and lots of questions, some of which they might not have learned yet. Please tell your children to stick with that, because eventually the programme will work out which ones are more difficult than others and will target it according to the needs of the individual. So kind of stick with that, even if I know, as I said, it's a little bit frustrating at the moment. Now, in terms, I've got a few questions which I'll come on to in a second. In terms of our expectations of what pupils do, the core homework is going to be via raw knowledge and Tassomai. And all of our pupil subjects have been divided into 3 buckets. So you have bucket 1, which is made up of maths and English. You have bucket 2, which is science, humanities and languages. And then you have bucket 3, which is all the other subjects, the creative subjects, the technology subjects, PE, etc., etc. And every day, pupils will be expected to achieve 50 points in each of those buckets. So that means 50 points from a combination of maths and English questions, 50 points from science, humanities and languages combined, and 50 points from their other subjects, so 150 in total. And points can be accrued quite easily, so you get 3 points if you get a correct answer. Unfortunately, pupils aren't able to just whiz through and keep clicking, because if they just do that, they lose a point for every one they score incorrectly. So it's trying to aim for accuracy and not just quickly whizzing through. And they get bonus points for completing the quiz and having a perfect quiz. So they can amass those points fairly quickly. But as I said, the minimum is 50 points per bucket per day, and that's what we've set it on at the moment. I'm just going to take a few questions. So have all pupils received login details at school? They have. On the first week back, all pupils were put into an IT suite, and they got the opportunity to log on, and they were given their login details and their password. If there are any pupils who still don't have these details, please feel free to email me. So my email address is nwh@woodlandschool.essex.sch.uk. So as I said, all of those people should have those details, and they should have had the opportunity to log on. But if there are any pupils that are still outstanding, haven't got their login details, please feel free to email me on that address and we will sort them out. How long do the pupils have to log on to Tassomai? So what we've asked our pupils in the first 2 weeks of term, we have encouraged them all to do that. Next week, our tutors, we get data from Tassomai every night at midnight, and it tells us which pupils haven't done their 3 daily goals. So we've already been monitoring this, so we've already got our hit list for pupils who haven't perhaps been engaged into this point. And as of next week, tutors will be sharing with pupils which pupils haven't been doing their daily goals. So they will be supportive. They'll be asking them why they haven't logged on, what's the issues with it, are there any obstacles preventing them from them to be able to access the programme. So that will be until the end of next week. By the following week, tutors will identify pupils who are still not consistently achieving their 3 daily targets, and they will be making phone calls home to parents just to check that parents are aware of the programme and to answer any questions they might have, any technical issues, or for any reasons really that pupils aren't engaging, because we're very, very keen to ensure that this is a success. The week after that, so by this point, pupils will have had 4 weeks to try it. The week after that, we will be enforcing our sanction system. Now, I do want to say before I talk about the sanctions that we are linking this with our praise system, so our e-praise system. So pupils will be rewarded for completing their 3 daily targets. Not only will they get e-praise points, but more importantly, and some of you may have noticed this already, that as pupils quiz, as they achieve their 50 points in their 3 buckets every day, the programme offers them discounts. So if they continually do that, the amount of points they need to achieve to be considered to have done their daily goal slowly diminishes across the week. It's not to the point where they've got no questions to do, but it does give them an incentive for wanting to do more. The sanction system, as I said, we've got 2 more weeks, and next week it'll be tutors monitoring the data, and the following week we'll start making phone calls home. After that, we will enforce our sanction system. Now, there will be a letter sent home to parents detailing this sanction system next week, and we will be taking any questions on that after, but we're trying to get on top of this. We don't want pupils to fall behind. So what will happen if pupils have failed to achieve their 3 daily goals is they will be in a detention the following day for up to 30 minutes, and parents will receive a text message in the morning notifying them of this. If pupils throughout the day, at lunchtime or break time when the ICT facilities are open, choose to go on, do their daily goal and do the bonus goal, which will make up for what they've missed the previous day, they just need to attend the detention, prove that they've achieved their points, and then they can go, because this is meant to be supportive. We do want to give all of our pupils the opportunity to succeed. But equally, what we don't want to do is let our pupils go without engaging in the programme, because all that happens is the gaps in their learning widen and they fall further and further behind. So in answer to Ronnie's question, next week tutors will be checking your engagement. The following week, if anyone's still not doing it, they will be calling home. And then the following week after that, the sanction system will begin. But we, as I said, we'll be sharing details of that with parents, and we'll also be sharing details of that with pupils in the next week or two. As I say, continue to ask questions if you've got any. If not, I'll just continue to talk to myself about keeping that. Now, with regards to accessibility, we have, I know Mr. Roberts has sent out lots of emails already checking that pupils at home have access to ICT. If there are still pupils at home who can't access ICT to be able to do this, please make sure you email the school and we will try to provide for you. There is available a Tassomai app, so they haven't got to do it on a laptop. They can do it on their phones. They just need to go to the App Store or the Android equivalent and download Tassomai, and they can do that on their phone. What you will find at the moment, as I said, pupils are having all the content exposed to them, and there will be questions at the moment that, particularly for Year 7, that they might not be familiar with. So it may feel like it's taking them a long time at the moment. What will happen as the algorithm works out which questions are difficult and which ones are easy, it will become easier because they will be targeted to the ability of the pupil. So stick with that at the moment. Someone just asked, can parents check from home that pupils are making progress? They can. Once it goes live, which will probably be in 2 weeks' time, parents will receive a email every Monday morning, which will detail the engagement of their child within the programme for the last week. They will also receive details to their own Tassomai account. And via that account, parents can log in. They're able to look at how much time pupils have spent on the app. They're able to look at how many points they've achieved in the different buckets. And they also have a tree, and you select it for the subject that you want to look into. Apologies. And as the pupils work through the content, the tree grows. And for every question they answer, they get a different leaf. Now, if they get the question incorrect, they get a red leaf. And as it's then posed to them on a following learning episode, that leaf will turn colour to green as they begin to master it. Now, from a parent's point of view, that should be really, really helpful, because parents just need to log on, they need to look at the tree, they need to hover over the coloured leaves, and they can see specifically what topics, what questions their child's struggling with. So that's a really, really powerful tool to help them close those gaps in their learning. So with regards to parents, how can they help? As I said, they'll get the email every week, and they'll also get login details to an account where they can look at how their child is performing. We will obviously probably use that at parents' evenings. It's a really good personalised learning checklist to see the areas and the subjects which pupils are excelling in and the ones that they need that additional support. So parent support, yeah, definitely coming the way. Obviously, we're going to try to make ICT facilities available to them. So we will be opening up some of the ICT suites at break times and lunch times if they want to go in there and complete their Tassomai homework. And more than that, what we're going to do, obviously, mobile phones are allowed outside of the building. They spend a lot of their free time outside. So we will be putting the Tassomai QR code up around the school, so pupils at lunchtime, if they're queuing or if they've got a bit of free time, they can do that at the same time if they choose to not take it home. That's completely up to them. Can the pupils email their teachers about the Tassomai about any account problems? Well, it depends what the problems are. If it's to do specifically with being able to log in, you're probably best to email me, because I will be able to fix that for you. If it's a case of you're been assigned to the wrong classes, if you email your teachers, they should be able to fix that for you. So you can email your specific subject teachers and they can deal with that issue. It is worth noting, if you're working through your Tassomai and there's a question that really doesn't make sense, and I don't mean not make sense saying you don't know the answer, but I mean it doesn't read correctly or you genuinely think it's the wrong answer. And there will be some of them, because I said our staff worked over lockdown, so worked remotely to make all these thousands and thousands of questions. So there probably will be a few errors. When you click on the question, you should see there's a little red flag in the top right-hand corner. If you click that flag, it will bring up a box and you can put what you think's wrong with it, and then teachers have to go back and check that those questions are correct. So as I said, if there's anything that you're really not sure about on a question level, make sure you just tell your teachers and they should be able to flag the question, and then we'll look into that for you. As I said, keep going with the questions if you've got any more, and I will try to answer them. The other exciting thing about awards, this is the thing that I'm most excited about, but Mr. Wright needs to find some space, is that our highest Tassomai performers will have a tree sent to the school on their behalf. So we will be planting trees in honour of our highest performing Tassomai students. So that should be available just to celebrate success, really. Are teachers going to use the data from Tassomai to help pupils? Yes, they will. What the teachers get is they get a list of all their classes, a list of all their units. And as teachers, we look over it, we can see how much of the course has been covered. And then we get a different colour to indicate how strong or how weak pupils are on certain topics. What that means is, as teachers, we can intervene. So if there are specific subjects that we know, or topics that we know pupils are struggling with, we will ensure that we cover that again. It might be in a starter, we might make an effort to go over that material more. It might be that it's a particular topic that we want to spend a whole lesson going over, if it's the whole class that are struggling with that. But we will use that data diagnostically to try to inform what we do in lessons, to try to address pupils' misunderstanding and to try to close the gap. Keep going with the questions if you've got any. Just in terms of when people have asked me before about this, about the impact the programme has. It is an incredibly clever programme. As I said, it's the interleaving nature of the content, it's the fact that it's personalised and it offers those opportunities for spaced retrieval. Now, in terms of the progress, Tassomai have done quite a lot of research on this. Now, they've only ever looked at it across one school year. So obviously here at Woodlands, it's across 2 years for Key Stage 3, and it's across 3 years for Key Stage 4. So it would be more than this, because this is just over a year. But last year, so obviously COVID, there was a lot of disruption. We did have, as did all schools, some pupils who couldn't engage with their online learning. Over just the course of 1 year, pupils made about 14 to 15% progress just in 1 year. But obviously, because ours is over 3, you can do the maths and work out actually pupils, if they engage with the programme and if they commit to achieving their targets every day, they can make quite significant progress using this. I do just want to stress that this is going to be the core homework. So this is the homework that we expect to be completed first and foremost. However, there may be a need, and there probably will be a need, for some subjects and some departments to set additional pieces to complement the quizzing programme. For example, in art, they might want to set practical pieces, and you'll understand that that's probably necessary to develop their artistic skills. Equally, at Key Stage 4, it may be the case that in history or English or some of the others, they need to practice examed timed pieces. So there will be that on top of it. I mean, having spoke to my own Year 11s today, they're saying that actually their quizzing is taking them about 30 to 40 minutes. So they have got the capacity to spend a little bit more time as well on those extended written pieces if they're asked to do that. But obviously, as parents, I'm sure you'll understand, it's really, really important that they've got the knowledge, which is what our quizzing programme does, but we equally in that need to allow them the opportunity to develop the skill with those additional pieces. So that will be there as well. Are pupils going to be rewarded for effort as well as getting questions correct? Yes, they are rewarded for effort, of course they are. Obviously, we look at how many points they get. And I know that there was some concern that actually perhaps some of our pupils who struggle with memory might struggle with this programme. Once we've kind of gone through the first couple of weeks, that shouldn't be the case, because the programme should tailor the questions to that pupil. Built within the programme are bonuses. So even if we have a less able pupil who is being offered foundation content, even if they can get to the end and complete that, they get awarded points for that. So that is awarded as well, and that's built into the programme. Yes, we aim for accuracy, but we also want to develop resilience. So we also want pupils to keep going, to keep trying, and they will get points for that, which ultimately over the course of the week, if they're achieving their points target, will diminish the amount of points that they need to achieve. So that is of course rewarded as well. And as a school, we will have top Tassomai in terms of how much they've done, how much they've tried, as well as anything else. So we want to ensure that all of our pupils are engaging. So yes, of course, we will reward effort as well as accuracy. Keep coming in with your questions. As I said, there doesn't seem to be an awful lot, which means everyone must understand. So we'll keep going kind of for the next 5 minutes. If you've got any questions, please feel free to get them in. Just another problem that we have had, not a problem, but we've had a lot of Year 7 parents, particularly in the first couple of weeks, saying that their children are spending too much time doing it. Now, obviously, Year 7 is a bit of an anomaly because they've not been taught anything with us yet. Now, we have had to unlock a question list for each of their subjects, but it might be that they're not covering those questions until the next couple of weeks. That means that when they're getting them, they are unfamiliar with them. Now, the programme should work, but when they get it wrong, it tells them the right answer, and it should then repeat that question in the next learning episode. So it should actually help their learning. It's called flip learning. It means they're probably going to turn up to their lessons knowing some of the content already, which is great, because it means us as teachers can work on the higher order thinking skills. However, and I do know that a few parents have been a bit worried because poor Year 7s are spending hours and hours researching the answers because they don't want to get it wrong. What I would advise for this, particularly for the next 2 weeks as well, if you are finding that your pupils are spending hours and hours, your children are spending hours and hours doing it because they're frantically trying to get the correct answer, just hold off, get them to do it for a set period of time. As I said, we're not sanctioning for another 2 weeks yet, by which point the computer should have worked out they've not had that material exposed to them, and they should have cut some of that content in the lesson. So it should be easier, but fix them. So tell them they've got to quiz for say 30 or 45 minutes. And then if they don't hit the target, it's not the end of the world. As I said, we're not sanctioning at the moment, but it's just to get them used to the programme. So please rest assured, Year 7s, if it's taking you hours and hours, don't stress about it. Do what you can, just give it a go. Do the children have to complete 7 days a week, or is it just Monday to Friday? That's really interesting. Tassomai works over 7 days. So it works Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. We as a school only expect them to do Monday to Friday. However, and my Year 11s told me this today, if they choose to do it, if they've got their targets every day, it diminishes across the course of the week. So it might be by Friday, they only need to do, 43 points to get their target in that bucket. If they don't do it on a Saturday and Sunday, we won't sanction them, but the programme will increase their target gradually. So it might go up to 45 or 46. It shouldn't still go up to 50, but it will increase slightly if they're not engaging in a weekend. That's nothing that's from us. As I said, we won't sanction it, but obviously you'll understand the purpose behind it is to try to encourage revision that's little and often. So actually, if they can spare 10 or 15 minutes on a Saturday to do a bit, keeps it fresh, their targets will stay low. But as I said, in terms of sanctioning it, not from us, but they will lose some of their discount that they've accrued on the programme. Are Year 11 doing this when exams are also on? Yes, we would encourage it. As I said initially, it was set as a revision tool. That's what it's meant for. It's meant for revision. It's a GCSE revision that many, many people buy. So it's a great source of revision. And actually one of our reasons for buying into it was our pupils struggle with revision. We often have pupils who leave it to the very end of Year 11 and then they come to it and they find that they're not just revising, they're having to reteach themselves. And the idea with this programme is this alleviates it, because if they're doing a little bit every single day, when it comes to revision, excuse me, when it comes to revision, they should have done most of it already. That content should be in their long-term memory. So actually their revision might just be having a go at exam questions. The likelihood is, however, in terms of the sanction system, we will look at them whether we sanction Year 11 whilst they're in their PPEs or their GCSEs. But we would, of course, encourage it because it is revision. So it is geared to what they need to be doing. Thank you. What about during things like teacher training and holidays? What is the school's expectation of these days for completion? Summer holidays, no. And actually teacher training days, no. So if they're absent of that day, we wouldn't necessarily sanction them and expect them to do it on that day. There'll be no sanction from us. Obviously, as I explained, teacher training day next Friday. If they don't do it next Friday, they'll find their target goes up a little bit because the discount comes off. But we're not sanctioning next week anyway, but if we were, they wouldn't be sanctioned for that because they've not been absent. No, do they need to sit with pen and paper to work answer that? No, not at all. It can be done anywhere. So it's all online. It might be, I know for some of the maths questions, they have to form calculations. So it might be that they want a pen and paper to write it down, but it's absolutely not necessary. The beauty of the programme is it's on the go. And we are encouraging in the queues when they're queuing up for lunch. We've got the QR, go on that while you're waiting, do 5 questions, work away at your target. It should be little and often. And that's what we want to sell in terms of that's what revision should be. Science suggests that cramming, which all our pupils seem to love to do, is actually quite ineffective. Their brains just can't handle that much material. They're much better doing a revision activity for 10 minutes and then going away and doing something else and then coming back to it. So we're really trying to instill in our pupils this idea that revision is most effective when it's little and often. So they get breaks through the year other than holidays? Well, no, because our homework policy, our homework should always be that people should be doing so much homework every day that they're at school. It's part of building their independence. It's part of making them resilient to be able to do it. And as I said, it helps them to revise. So the expectation will be that when they're in school, that is the core of their homework. And as I said, most subjects are setting this now as their homework. So the expectation will be if they're in school, that's what they do that evening. As I said, when it comes to PPEs, when our year 11s, it might be that we look at the sanction system for year 11, but it's a great tool. It shouldn't take them a lot to do. And we really want to get this work ethic into them. Little and often is the key. Please keep coming in with your questions. It's really nice to hear your feedback. This is obviously quite an exciting project for us. It was a programme that I was looking for because we wanted to have this interleaved space retrieval programme, and we kind of stumbled upon Tassomai. We are one of only 2 schools in the country who are doing this, so it is quite innovative for us. And as I said, we're really excited. So it's nice to have feedback from parents and from pupils about how it's going. I know I've spoken anecdotally to some pupils and they're quite enjoying it. It's quite nice that consistently they know they've got to get X amount of points in every bucket, and it's ensuring that all subjects are quizzed. So there's no priority given to one subject over another. Probably be here for another 5-10 minutes. As I said, please feel free to ask if you've got any other questions. I would really recommend when you get the email logging on to the parent app, because it's a really, really powerful tool. I know us as teachers have looked at it and we're using it to inform our planning, but I think in terms of encouraging parental engagement and how you can help at home, it's really helpful. You'll be able to see which buckets are in maths and English weaker than humanities and languages. You'll be able to see that. You'll be able to delve deeper and look at particular subjects, and within those subjects what topics they're struggling with, and so it's really personalised and helpful in terms of ensuring that your pupils make progress. Seems to be it for questions. As I said, you will get a letter next week with a bit more detail about how the sanction system is working. I do want to say we're calling it the sanction system. We don't necessarily want it to be for a sanction. We know that some people sometimes something happens and they can't do it. So the idea is, as I said, we will set them a detention for up to 30 minutes the next day. However, if they want to at lunchtime when in the queue, do it. Some of the pupils have said it's only taking them 20 minutes. They can do that. They've just got to tick their name off, show that they've done their target, and then they can go. So we do want to offer them the opportunity to do that. For example, they miss a Friday evening but complete on a Saturday. Are you looking for 5 times a week or specific Monday to Friday? Well, actually, the way Tassomai works is it will download the report, and actually if they've done it on a Saturday, it will say that when we get the data on a Monday morning, it will account for that. So if on a Friday they're going out, it's Friday night, that's fine. If they've done it on a Saturday or a Sunday, that's absolutely fine. We just want them to engage in the programme. So we have got that flexibility over the weekend because we understand that sometimes that might be a bit more appropriate. So yeah, that's absolutely fine. If a Friday they don't manage to do it, the Saturday and Sunday can account for it. But just in order to keep engagement, and because we don't want pupils to fall behind, our sanction system will, on a Monday, we'll get the report Monday night and then we'll organise the sanctions for the Tuesday. Because as you'll appreciate, if we leave that any longer, the amount of work that missed grows very, very quickly, and we don't want that to happen because the only impact of that is the pupil falls more and more behind, and that's not good for their academic progress. But we also find that affects their well-being quite detrimentally because they start to panic and they don't feel like they can catch up on that learning. So we do want to be on it to ensure, as I said, that we're keeping on top of them, but keeping them on track with their learning. In terms of kind of other points, really, as I said, the key to this and the beauty of this is, yes, not only supports their knowledge, but what it means to us as teachers, if they're doing a lot of that at home, when they're coming to us, a lot of the time their knowledge is consolidated. So we can work on the higher order thinking skills of analysis and of evaluation. So 5 times a week is the target. Sorry, client, Monday super busy. Yeah, I mean, on a Monday, what will happen on a Monday night at 12 a.m, we get a report to see if the target's been achieved or not. So the way potentially it will work, and we're just clarifying this, and the information will go out next week, is we'll get a list of all the pupils who haven't achieved it on a Monday night. And you'll get a message to say potentially the child will be in detention for up to half an hour that night. But if on the way to school, I don't know, if they get the bus or they walk, they do it then. If they do a bit of break time, if they do 5 minutes at lunchtime, the chances are they would have made their target and the bonus goal. They turn up to the detention at 3 o'clock, show it, and then we'll let them go. Obviously, pupils who don't manage that, we'll let them stay and do that. And as soon as they get that, they can go. Do pupils have to complete all the questions in one go, or can they do something? Yeah, they can do it as often as they want, so they can do it in chunks. Chunks are probably the most manageable and the most effective way of doing it. So you might want to do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening, 10 minutes at lunchtime. Little and often is key. I hope that clarified the one regarding when you need to do it. Obviously, you'll understand we are a big school of 1,600, to try to keep on top of that is quite difficult. But that's why when we call it the sanctions, but really it's a catch-up. When we've got the catch-up, it does allow that flexibility. So if you're really busy on a Monday night, there is the scope to do it in the morning, break time, lunchtime, or if necessary, come at 3 o'clock and spend 10 minutes doing it, and then we'll let you go. We just want them to keep on top of their learning. We just don't want them to fall behind. But obviously, it's quite difficult to manage when we're trying to keep on top of them so closely every night. Because we all know pupils don't particularly like doing homework. So we're trying to change that work ethic to ensure that obviously they're committed to it, but also they see the benefit, because that's where we're going to get buy-in for them. When they're going into assessments and they feel like they've got that knowledge, they can see the programme working, then obviously they'll believe in it and they'll engage more in it. Yeah, that should be absolutely fine. To be honest with you, if there are specific issues, so if there are specific issues about on a Monday, it's really difficult. If you email me, we'll see what we can do about it. If there are exceptional circumstances, we will try to work that out. But obviously, this is a new process. There will be things that need ironing out, but we just need something kind of consistent in principle. But if that does become a problem, please feel free to email us and we'll try to work it out. Providing they're engaging the programme and they're getting the necessary targets over the week, that's what we really care about, and that's what's really important here. Do all pupils have to do it when they're busy helping parents? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, Ronnie. If you come and see me tomorrow, because I normally see you around, come and see me and you can explain what you mean by that and I'll answer that question for you. All right, because I'm not quite sure what you mean by that one. So come and find me tomorrow and then I'll answer that question for you. Are there any questions? I'll just leave it for a couple of minutes. As I said, I have, you should have got a letter this week, and that also contains a YouTube clip where I talk through this, probably a bit slower if I'm honest with you, about the programme. So please feel free to watch that if you haven't already done so. And obviously, as I said, email me if you've got any questions. My email again is nwh@woodlandschool.essex.sch.uk. And actually, just from parents, all we ask really is for your support. This is new. If you can just be encouraging your children at home to be engaging, to trying. As I said, the programme just ironing itself out. It's just collecting that data before it's able to personalise pupils' experiences. So please just stick with it, encourage them to do it. Come to me with any issues you might have. It's also worth noting, I've obviously already spoken about the Tassomai app for parents and the fact that you'll get that weekly report detailing your child's engagement in the programme. The founders and the developer of Tassomai has offered to do a parents webinar, so that will just show you how to make the most out of the parents app. I've already obviously spoken to you about the knowledge tree and about how you can work out how much they've engaged and how much they've made progress, but he will obviously be able to tell you in much more detail how you can make the most of that parents app to really support your child in making progress. Just give one more minute to see if there are any questions and then I will go. I can't repeat enough obviously how excited we are about this programme. This is something that we've not done before, but it seems a bit of a no-brainer. Pupils struggle to revise, they struggle to remember lots of content, and obviously the reformed GCSEs are very, very content heavy. So we are excited to see the impact of this, and it's really nice to see so many parents saying they're interested in looking at the parent app. As I said, the details of the webinar I will send out to you, and he can talk you through how that works, because he's got much more knowledge than I have. Can you repeat your? Yeah, of course. It will. It is on. It should. My email address should be on the letter that was sent out on Monday. I think it's just being typed into the chat box for you now. But it's nwh@woodlandschool.essex.sch.uk. And as I said, I'm happy to take any questions that you might have, any queries you might have, technical problems or anything about the algorithm and the science behind it. Please feel free to contact me. It's really nice to have conversations with parents when we're supporting the pupils' learning here. So I would welcome any of those conversations. I think we're kind of getting to the end of the questions now, which makes it a bit weird because I'm just talking to myself. So, as I said, thank you for your time this evening. We really appreciate your support, and we really appreciate you joining us on this journey of kind of launching this programme. As I said, I will send you out more details about the webinar, and you'll get a letter next week about the praise and sanction system that's behind the programme. Thank you very much. Bye.